Commissioners' General Session. Today is Tuesday, October 24th, 2023. As a reminder, this is a public meeting and is being recorded. Please ensure your line is muted for those calling in. And first, we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Commissioner Boyce.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We are very pleased to welcome Chastity Washington, the Executive Director of the Ohio State University Center for Cancer Health Equity, to tell us a bit about its Turning the Page on Breast Cancer program. Ms. Washington is also the guest for this week's Lunch and Learn program, so please plan to tune in for that tomorrow at noon on the Commissioner's Facebook page. Welcome, Mrs. Washington.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. So as Commissioner Crowley said, I'm here to talk to you today about our Turning the Page on Breast Cancer program. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And we know that for some populations, breast cancer is a disparate disease, right? So we get the disease more often, we die from the disease more often. So that is the onus behind our Turning the Page on Breast Cancer program. So this program was created to target African American women because African American women get breast cancer the same rate as their counterparts. So every woman or female assigned at birth in this room will have a 1 in 8 chance of developing breast cancer in their lifetime, which is about 3 women every minute. But we know for African American women, the issue is then when it comes to mortality or death rates. So African American women die from this disease about 41 to 42% more often than their white counterparts. And that's truly just unnecessary. In this day and age, we have a lot of technologies, advancements in treatment and screening and ways to detect cancer and find it early. But what we know is that women of color are often discriminated against in their healthcare system. There's historic and institutional racism that plays a part in healthcare outcomes for these women. We've got 20 years since the Institute of Medicine report that actually showed that when people of color come in for care, they are sometimes not offered the same types of care. They are often denied insurance claims for procedures that are the latest and greatest and would help them with their disease. So our program looks at 2 things. So we target the women themselves to help them advocate for themselves, knowing what to look for, what to ask for, where to go, how to get a mammogram that is at a qualified center, because not all centers are the same as far as reading and outcomes of those exams. And then we also work with the healthcare centers in 13 counties. So the program is started in 13 counties in Ohio, Franklin being one of them. So we look at those healthcare centers, we work with them, we give them evidence-based interventions to help them get their women in for screening, because a lot of times women do not come in for screening, and that gives them a later diagnosis. So we know late-stage diagnosis has a poorer outcome. So there's 4 stages of breast cancer. 0 to 1 is early, still in the breast chest area, and then 4 being it's gone outside the body into other areas, and we definitely don't want that. So at stage 4, the survival rate for everyone is about 22%, and if we find it at 0 to 1, it's about 100%. So again, we want to get women in, we want to get them treated, we want to get them at that 100% survival rate. So this program has a website. It's in breastcancerohio.org. We do hand these out in the community. We go out and do education. So our center has community health workers, patient navigators. We go out in all the counties, and particularly Franklin County, and we educate women and we get them to this website. So on the website, there is a risk assessment. So it's a 7 to 10 question, depending on how you answer some of the questions. And at the end of that, it will spit out what's called a personalized risk assessment. So it'll tell you based on how you answered your questions, are you at average risk, are you at high risk, what does that mean as far as screening? Genetic counseling, should you talk to a genetic counselor? How do you get to a genetic counselor? So there's resources on the page by county. Again, for mammography, genetic counseling, all of those things. And then you can also email or leave a comment to be contacted by one of our patient navigators, and they will call the woman back, answer their question, get them in for any whatever service that they need, including just connecting them to a primary care physician, because we know a lot of times women do not have a PCP, and you have to have the PCP to even get the mammogram. So again, working with the community, working with the physicians, just trying to get that rate down. Just really quickly, in Franklin County, we've had 386 women complete the risk assessment this year, out of a total of 965 in the state. We've also had our staff here work with African American women in Franklin County to get 270 women in for screening. And of those 270 women, 92 of them were enrolled in what's called the Breast and Cervical Cancer Early Detection Program. So if you're not aware, that is a state and federal funded program that provides insurance coverage for screening, diagnostic, and then what's called BCCP Medicaid for women that are 400% or below of the poverty level. And that has also been expanded in 2019 to also cover women who do have insurance but have like high deductibles or co-pays. So again, we've been able to connect women who did not have insurance or had high deductibles to that program. And above those 270 women, we only had 4 that had to come back for additional views or had an abnormal mammogram. And thankfully, we had no cancers this year. But again, just a little bit about the project that we have and the work that we do. We definitely want to also keep in mind some public policy issues because the work that we do is what we consider downstream things, so getting people connected to resources that they don't have. But the biggest impact is going to be things that happen upstream. So we're fortunate here that we do have Medicaid expansion. There are about 13, 14, 15 states that do not have that. So in April and May, when the COVID expansion shut down, we've had several women that have lost coverage because they did not have the continuous enrollment or they were no longer qualified because that extension was revoked. So again, just looking at how we can help those women get connected. We have patient navigators, like I said, and then just looking at policies and procedures. That there is a House Bill 24 that is up to be approved now, and that actually will cover biomarker testing, and that is important because that test can help determine what kind of treatment a patient can have based on characteristics in their tumor. And if you don't have access to that, you don't have access to those treatments, you don't have access to clinical trials. And right now that is not covered for our Medicaid and Medicare populations. And it's also not covered by a lot of private insurance. And we know if CMS covers stuff, private insurance tends to follow. So just wanted to get that in there since I was in front of this audience. So any questions for me at this time?
Please.
President, did you have some? No. Okay. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for your presentation. To your point, we know that the mortality rate for Black women is higher than those of our counterparts, and I think this is so timely, especially for me as one of my friends' sister was just diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer a couple weeks ago when she had a biopsy done in April, and they were like it was benign, and then experienced some pain and then follow-up, and now it's stage 3 and has to do a pretty aggressive regimen of chemotherapy and radiation. And so one of the things that me and my friend were talking about is the first thing that came to her mind about her sister was like, was she misdiagnosed? What happened in April to now have an aggressive form of breast cancer? And so, it was like, well, at this point in time, we got to put that to the side and deal with the issue at hand, which is the cancer and beating cancer. But the fact that that was the first thing, like, what was her doctors thinking? How did this happen? Was it a misdiagnosis? And would she have a better survival rate had it been caught a little bit earlier? And so it's so important for women to get their mammograms, follow up, if you feel like there's something that's not right. If you have to go back for additional imaging, make sure you make those appointments. It is so, so important. I mean, can't stress it enough. And I have to get my mammogram. I have not gotten it for the year. It is October, and so I will schedule that today. Thank you again for your presentation.
President O'Grady, it made me think of something. One, I just had a relative too that went through a scenario of treatment for breast cancer, and but I'm wondering, so do men get breast cancer?
Yes, about 1% of breast cancers are in men. Of note, 2 celebrities, well, celebrity-ish. Beyonce Knowles' father has had breast cancer, and Shaft, Richard Roundtree, has also had breast cancer. So yes, about 1% of breast cancers are found in men because men do have breast tissue, they just have less.
And then a follow-up question. So how do men check? How are we supposed to check, and should we check? Is it so rare that it's just you would know?
So I will tell you the same thing I tell women, right? So if there's anything abnormal, a lump bump in this chest area or anywhere, get it checked, right? So For men, it would probably have to be like an MRI or something, because you're not gonna get in the mammogram machine, but they would do an MRI or ultrasound and do a similar workup with the biopsy and the same sort of procedure. It's just not something that we're gonna regularly check you for, just because it is such a low percentage. But yes, I tell everyone, if there's anything, know your body, know yourself. If there's anything different, get it checked out. It may be nothing, but it may be something. So.
Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Commissioner O'Grady, may I
Yes,
please?
please.
Joy Bivens, Deputy County Administrator of Health and Human Services. Thank you for the information. I just wanted to just make a plug and see if there was an opportunity. As you know, we're going through the Medicaid unwinding process where a lot of Franklin County residents are going to fall off, and then we have to renew, which we did not have to do before, because we would just automatically put you on. Wanted to see if there was an opportunity for us to partner with you in your entity to assist us in targeting those populations, those zip codes, to ensure folks get renewed more quickly. So
Yeah.
I can put you in contact with the Director of Job and Family Services.
Sounds wonderful.
Yeah. Thank you. And really quick, do you have the zip codes of, looking at our poverty blueprint plan, just kind of targeting them? Do you
So
have
I will
zip
tell you
codes?
right now, most of the zip codes are all going to be the same, and you can tie them back to redlining, which is unfortunate. So they're going to be the same. So if you put a red line map, and then you put infant mortality, incarceration, education, cancer, infant mortality, they're all mostly going to overlap. So I can get, but it's going to be the same. If you have
Yeah.
those, it's going to be
Yeah.
unfortunately the same,
Yeah.
which is why they've made racism a public health crisis, because it truly is.
And I'll get you a copy of our blueprint as well, but I'm sure that's what I was wondering. Thank you.
Ms. Washington, we're pleased you've been here today. Thank you for your message to everyone. This is an issue that not only have we been on many levels, not only have we brought, been paying attention to and brought forward, but all of us, both with our families and personally, we've all dealt with this as well. And so thank you for being here today and sharing the message.
My pleasure. All right. Thank you.
All right. I don't see any
No minutes.
minutes today, so we'll move on to the engineer.
Resolution number 79323, resolution approving a contract modification with Kokosing Construction Company Incorporated for the 2022 Franklin County Resurfacing Program, an increase of $91,408.39 for a revised contract amount of $5,647,745.39.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brad Foster, along with Nick Zulis for the Franklin County Engineers Office. Commissioners, our first resolution seeks to authorize a contract modification with Kokosing Construction Company for the 2022 Franklin County Resurfacing Program, an increase of $91,408.39 for a revised contract amount of $5,647,745.39. During construction, it was determined that additional items on Hayden Run Road were necessary to complete this project. Pending any questions, I would ask for your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 793-23.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 79323 has been adopted. Resolution number 79423, Fishbeck Incorporated Consulting Engineers appointed to assist the Franklin County Engineer in performing engineering services for bridge maintenance for various bridges, Franklin County, Ohio, in the amount of $120,110.
Commissioners, our second and final resolution seeks approval for a contract with Fishbeck Consulting Engineers to provide detailed engineering services for bridge maintenance for various bridges. Fishbeck is a local engineering firm and was chosen via engineering qualifications-based selection process. Fishbeck will assist the development of bridge plans for bridges on Hart Road, Hahn Road, and Brand Road. Pending any questions, I ask for your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 794-23.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 79423 has been adopted.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Prosecuting attorney.
Resolution number 795-23. Resolution authorizing a contract with Metro Park District Board of Park Commissioners, the Franklin County Prosecutor's Office, and the Franklin County Board of Commissioners for legal services in the amount of $1.
Good morning, Commissioners. Janine Hummer on behalf of Prosecutor Tyek's office. You have before you this resolution that is authorized under the Ohio Revised Code. In order for the prosecutor's office to represent Metro Park District, the commissioners and the prosecutor have to agree to those services. I want to point out the services are worth much more than $1, but since we need to have some form of consideration for a binding contract, we have added an amount to that. This contract will allow us to pursue and continue to move forward on the pending litigation involving the auditor's office and the city of Obetz, of which the Board of Commissioners also have joined. If there are no further questions, I ask for passage.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 795-23.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Resolution number 795-23 has been adopted.
All right. The public defender.
Resolution number 796-23. Resolution authorizing an agreement with Axon Enterprise Incorporated for the purchase of the Axon Evidence Digital Evidence Storage and Management System in the amount of $953,672.80.
Good morning, Commissioners. Robin Moorhead, Assistant Prosecuting Attorney. I'm here this morning on behalf of the Franklin County Public Defender's Office to present a resolution for an agreement with Axon Enterprise, Inc. for the purchase of Axon's Digital Evidence and Storage Management Software System. The software offers an efficient and centralized system of receiving, storing, and managing evidence submitted to and used by the Public Defender's Office in connection with the defense of criminal offenses being prosecuted in Franklin County. The agreement has a term of 5 years and is for a total amount of $953,672.80. Pending any questions, I respectfully request your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 796-23.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Resolution number 796-23 has been adopted.
Thank you. Veteran Services.
Resolution number 797-23. Resolution authorizing a transfer of general fund appropriations for the support of the Immediate Financial Assistance Program.
Good morning, everybody. Commissioners, I'm Buck Bramlett, Executive Director of the Franklin County Veteran Service Commission, and very thankful for your time and consideration today. We have seen our veteran support requests steadily rise over the last 2 years and are pleased to share that in 2023, we are receiving and supporting more financial assistance requests than ever before. Financial assistance requests rose 34% from 2022 compared to the same time period in 2023 this year, or just under 3,000 requests last year compared to over 4,500 requests this year thus far. Food requests in particular have risen by 40% for our veteran families that are just squeaking by or living at the margins. Not including our holiday meal card program, we provided over $650,000 in nutrition in 2022 compared to $1.174 million this year thus far. And then finally, in 2023, we've seen a 12% increase in rent-associated requests compared with 2022. As we kick off our holiday meal card and winter clothing programs, continue to support medical transportation programs, this additional funding will ensure we are ready to provide the significant financial assistance Franklin County veterans in need have come to appreciate from our great county. The Franklin County Veteran Service Commission appreciates your consideration of this request for $724,000 to support financial assistance programs and appreciate the continued commitment from the Board of County Commissioners that you make to our veteran citizens.
Please.
Thank you, President O'Grady. Thank you, Director. So, I think we continue to see just an increase in need in general across our population, but for veterans, obviously, very near and dear to my heart, but to the board. For the 34% increase in support that you all have provided over last year, do you have like an average age of the population that is being served? And just wondering if it's our older veterans, like 62 plus or is it our younger? Just trying to get an idea.
No, that's a great question, Commissioner. We calculate it monthly, and last month it was about 59 and a half as the average age. It seems to kind of hover between 58 and 61 as the average age. We are starting to see more younger veterans, in part because of the PACT Act. That's service type VA claims request, but as they understand our agency that we do both, help with VA claims and provide financial assistance, I think that should help us reach the younger demographic. But right now, that average age is, like I say, somewhere between 58 and 61.
Okay, all right. Thank you for that.
Yes, ma'am.
I've asked, and I know Office on Aging is coming up next, but have asked, I know Director Wingo has been saying, that she's seeing an increase as well. And so just trying to see if there's overlap with our older veterans who are getting support or probably need support from the Office on Aging. So thank you for that information. That's why I was asking.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. President, one, thanks for all the work that you all do, and I've got some constituents I need to send your way, so I'm going to be calling you. There are two that right now just reached out to me in the last couple of days that I need to refer to you, so I'll get those over. But I do want to say, kind of building on what Commissioner Crawley said, this is one of those logical investments that we do as Franklin County in terms of the resource that we dedicate. And I just know of too many instances where folks have been able to benefit from this investment from Franklin County. And so I just really wanted to say thanks for what you all do. And I know I've got two really unique cases coming your way that I'm gonna send you, and these folks need some real help. And actually, I need to get with Director Bivens DCA Bivens on these two constituents as well. Nonetheless, I love it when we're able to highlight what we do as Franklin County and the resources that we have, because all too often I feel like the public doesn't quite understand the role that the county plays, the city is a little more obvious, I would say. People know. They know what the mayor does. They know what city council people do. They have a sense of the resources that are provided, but often they don't know what the county, the depth of what the county provides. And I admit, when I first came to the county, I didn't know all of the tentacles that the county had as well. And so this is one of those that I feel like is under promoted on our part. So I just, again, want to encourage you for outreach and for connection and the resources that you need, the partnerships that exist, and how I think I got a thought going over here to Commissioner Craw. I spurred something. But so anyways, I really want to just say thanks. So.
I would like to add then, just if I may, I'm approaching 8 years in this job. I actually interviewed for the job from Iraq, came back, retired, and had no idea what county government was like. I couldn't be more thrilled to be to work in Franklin County and work as one of the agencies that you support and oversee. We get great support. We have great partnerships. We have partnerships with the Office on Aging. We provide some funding for them as they execute some of their great programs. But I wouldn't want to be in any other county doing this work. So thank you.
Oh, I love that.
Please.
I definitely wouldn't want to be in any other county. Yeah.
This is the best county.
Franklin County all the way.
Yeah. If I could just follow up, President O'Grady. So I had the opportunity to go to Mecklenburg County because they have like a one-door model, and we are moving towards a one-door model. And one of the things that really stood out and that I was really pleased to see in Mecklenburg in their one-door model is their veteran services being in the agency in this new like large facility that's like a one-stop shop. And they were talking about how, they had a lot of different ancillary services, but how it made a difference for veterans coming into JFS, getting assistance in other places, but being able to go right into the Office of Veteran Services. And as we continue to move forward with our one-door model and making an investment, I would like to see a Veterans Services office in our one-door new facility that we're getting ready that we're moving towards. It just makes a difference. And so, this isn't the only agency that I would be requesting to have a small office. And if it's, if it comes to a full FTEs, that's something that can be worked out with Administrator Wilson to make sure that can happen, and then he'll bring it to the commissioners, because I know staff is an issue, right? And this is a small and mighty staff over at VSC. But if we are looking to really serve our residents and have this new model work the way that we envision, I know you collaborate with the other agencies, but this is another step further that I would like to see as we move into the one-door model.
Kenneth Wilson, County Administrator, President O'Grady, Commissioner Boyce, Commissioner Crowley, yes, I agree with everything that has been said here. We've worked, as Mr. Brownledge pointed out, on collaborations with Office on Aging and with home repair. VSC has partnered with the Columbus Clippers to various ways to support our veterans. I also want us to continue our outreach efforts to make sure that every eligible veteran in Franklin County that's in need is aware of our services. And as we get ready to take delivery of one of two mobile vehicles, I'm thinking about how some way that we make sure that the Veteran Services Commission, part of our outreach at that vehicle, meets people where they are. Also, which hasn't been touched upon, is that this resolution also reflects the commissioner's willingness to put dollars behind the goals and action steps of the Rise Together Poverty Blueprint. Because you can get no more grassroots than to provide funding for holiday meals to ensure that our veterans have food over the holidays, and to get them over through the course of the year. We collaborate all the time with the Mid-Ohio Food Collaborative. I'm visiting a site they're getting ready to hopefully open on our east side of our county. Food insecurity continues to be a major issue here in Franklin County, and the Board of Commissioners, you all have been on the front lines of curing this problem that continues to grow. And it's also a symptom of being a growing county. We have numerous residents coming to Franklin County every day seeking opportunities to better their lives. But it's through the commitment of this board we continue to have a goal, as I said, stated last night, to not only have our residents survive but thrive. I'm borrowing that from Commissioner Crowley. Thank you.
Everybody should say that, yeah. If I could, I know, did you have something? To follow up, I think one thing that hasn't been highlighted, especially for veterans, is how difficult it is to navigate the supports and the resources that there are available. I know for me as a veteran, there's probably money I'm leaving on the table when it comes to disability, but it's so much red tape. People don't know where to start. People don't know how to get their records or get their DD-214. And so, I know Commissioner Boyce was saying, he has 2 constituents that he's going to send your way, but like what you all do, makes a huge difference. I don't know how to navigate all of the things that are available to me. I know how to go to the VA, but even that is convoluted. And so I feel like the people that you, Executive Director, and then your staff really be doing like God's work, trying to help people navigate the resources especially in a time when they probably feel defeated, like they don't know where to go. And so you really hold their hands through the process and then connect them with different resources. And I know we've had a conversation about housing for veterans, and that's something that I have not forgotten. We'll circle back with you on, because we know the need is great, but I know you will support and help the 2 constituents that Commissioner Boyce has. But I want the public to know that it is very difficult for veterans to get the things that are available that are due them because of their service. But without somebody who's an expert in this space, we'll continue to falter. So thank you.
And that's such a great point. Part of our challenge is, as we staff and try to maintain staff, Inside the Ohio Revised Code, we can only hire veterans, and if a veteran's not available, we can hire a direct family member of a veteran. So everyone at our agency is a veteran or direct family members. That's a great thing in many respects, but what it also does, and I have this conversation with my board quite often, is it takes this big pool of employees or potential employees and shrinks it down to this. So our ability to recruit and retain because of that small target is a continual challenge, and to reach a level of expertise on the VA side of what we do, what we call the Veterans Benefit Specialist, takes about 3 years to reach that level of expertise. So we endeavor, we love the work we do. It is, and it's social services. It's a lot of hard work, and our team members deal with a lot of veterans that are struggling on the margins and struggling with mental health and struggling with housing. So appreciate all the comments, and we'll continue to work toward helping every Franklin County veteran. And I would tell you that when it comes to service work like VA work, we help people outside our county. We're able to do some of that stuff. People that work here, live in other counties, we can't do that with financial assistance, but with VA service, we try to help people that work here as well.
Before we, and I know that we have Resolution 797 on the table, but before we do that, Director, do we still have, and I know that this has been an issue over the years, we haven't talked about it in a long time, but do we still have issue with veterans from other counties coming to Franklin County to receive benefits because of the way, because our Veteran Service Commission is run, and our agency is run better here, and they can access services here that they can't access in their counties.
I use the words, I try to, for.
Not that I'm complaining about
Right.
it, but is it still an issue?
Yes, I joke, a big old dumb.
I want veterans served. I
Right.
don't care what county they're from, but
Right.
I'm wondering if that's still a problem that we have.
So I use the analogy as a big old dumb engineer officer, so that's my, I try to choose my words. I think Franklin County is a very generous county in its approach to its citizens and to veterans. And I tend to think that there are deeper pockets, there's more availability for funding. So yes, when it comes to the programs we have, we tend to offer more programs and offer those services more often than most other counties. You can come and request financial assistance from us once a month. And in many counties, that's once a quarter. In some counties, it's based on how many months you serve. They all get to decide what their rule set is, and that's in the Ohio Revised Code. Our rule set is you can come to us once a month and receive benefit. As far as people seeking financial assistance from outside counties, we can't and don't provide to anybody that's not a resident. And there's one exception in the Ohio Revised Code, and I hate to try to quote law, but I believe the way it reads is if you move out of our county for up to the first 90 days, so if you move to Delaware County, within the first 90 days, we could still help them with our funding for the first 90 days. But that's really the only alibi. So what I see, to your point, is we have people that maybe have relied on us a lot. They say, hey, this is the last time I'm moving to a new county, and now that I've been here a while, 2 years later, they're back. And part of that rationale they're back, I think, is not just us. In part, they enjoy our support, but in part, I think they just realize there's more benefits in Franklin County. Does that answer your question, sir?
Thank you.
Okay, if there are no further comments or questions, move for adoption of 797-23.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 797-23 has been adopted. Resolution number 798-23, resolution authorizing a partnership with Central Ohio Veterans Stand Down and the Franklin County Convention Facilities Authority in sponsoring the 2023 Annual Central Ohio Veterans Stand Down at the Greater Columbus Convention Center.
So this would be part of kind of our outreach approach, and this is really, I think, Zach helped us kind of move down this road to support Stand Down directly from our agency. But the Stand Down has been going on since 1995. Dan Willis is going to, come on up, Dan. Dan's going to talk about it. Dan's been the executive director. He's been giving his time for over 19 years to continue the Stand Down. The best thing I'd like to say to Dan is I saw so many programs during COVID that kind of withered and didn't make a comeback. This one did, and it's because of Dan's energy to get the stand down up and moving again. I also want to take a minute before I turn it over to Dan. CODA was with me last year, just because CODA had announced they were going to start providing veterans a 50% fare discount. And so I just want, my 1 year update and some stats I got from CODA was basically using just the mobile app to gauge things. There's, I think, 900 to 1,000 veterans taking advantage of the 50% discount on their mobile app to take advantage of CODA transportation. So we're all very thankful of CODA's approach on that. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Dan for a couple of comments about his program.
Only a couple?
4 minutes.
I'll follow you. Good morning. Let me also say, I've done this for a long time, but there's 25 of us that put this program together that volunteer their time. So it's not just me. I'm the one in the front that gets hit first. But all these other people make it happen. They represent the VA, they represent different agencies and different private companies that all work together. I've passed out in front of you our flyer. This is our Bible for our program. We give this to everybody who walks through the door. Whether you're a volunteer, a veteran, or a guest, or a guide, you get this document. The most important thing is on the back of it. It'll show you how we lay out 159,000 square feet of space with the convention center to provide services to our veterans. We work really hard on that and make it work, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then, as Buck mentioned before, we're very proud of the fact that this started in 1995 with the commission at Veterans Memorial at 300 West Broad Street. So we've been able to continue this, and we're only down for 2 years because of COVID, but we're back up. Last year was a remarkable year. This year, I'm going to talk about some old and some new, if I may, okay? And I do have a list, so I won't go on forever. We have over 100 social service and private providers as part of our program. So we do everything from housing to academics, you name it. Columbus Legal Aid is a part of our program. So somebody, I think it was Ms. Carley, was talking about legal issues. Our Columbus Legal Aid is able to get people 30, 40, 50% of TRICARE health care. They do it at our program with our guests. So when our guests come and have those challenges, Columbus Legal Aid is there to help them. They have 17, 18 lawyers that know exactly what to do with the veteran services and our program. Again, we're going to have CODA. CODA has a veteran bus. We're going to have that on the site too, where they provide direct services to veterans in our community. We're really proud to have that. Now for something, how could I forget? I'm so sorry. We also have a full complement of Franklin County services that we're offering too. So you name a service that you guys provide, they're going to be on our floor providing services to our guests, okay? We work really hard with that piece of it so that we can reflect the full services that the county offers to our veterans in our community. Like that one? Thank you. I worked on that one, okay? Sorry. We have sponsors. This is something new. We had sponsors who allowed us to purchase brand new 600 winter coats for our veterans. Now remember, we don't put a label on our guests except one, and that's veteran. We don't care how much money is in their pocket. We don't care how old they are. We don't care how tall or how short they are. They're a veteran when they come through our door. We level the playing field, and that makes all of our veterans more receptive to the services that we have. So we have 600 brand new coats that we're going to be passing out to our veterans this year. Something else that's new, when somebody says you smell good, remember that, because they don't have to do it. And that's how I feel about cold calls. When somebody calls me that I don't know and have not pushed the button, I listen to them. I got a call from Bechtel, who's doing the construction for Intel. I got a cold call from Amgen, who's a pharmaceutical who's doing a production factory next to Intel. They're going to be coming to our program, hiring people for their programs at our program. So it makes me feel really good that our program has gotten to the point that people in the community see us as a resource to help everyone out. So that's something that's new. Something else that's new is kind of fun. If you noticed on the back there, you saw a couple things in red. The VA is offering in addition to the medical services that they offer, the full complement of everything, including flu shots and all those good things, they're going to have pickleball and disc golf on site. Again, they have programs at the VA, and that's going to be part of the recreation piece that we have on the floor so they can see how that works and be a part of it. Again, I got a cold call. This is a cold call. His name is Armando Tellis. He called me up out of the blue. Again, that's what I do. This year will be the first year that we have 61 Hispanic Medals of Honors in a display on our floor. And if you notice on the back, they're in the middle of our lunch area, so that so everybody who has lunch will be able to see these 61 Medals of Honor as they have their lunch, and also be able to tour them. Personally, I'm not a veteran. I've never seen a Medal of Honor. I'm pleased as punch to have them as a part of our program and highlight that part of our community. Something else that's new, one of our purposes is not only serving veterans, but our job is also to teach young people the importance and the value of veterans in our community. I have 3 examples. Oakstone Academy, they're in Westerville. They sing the national anthem, They sing the national anthem at our flag program. These are kids that are on the autism spectrum, and we're very proud to have them as a part of our program every year. Fort Hays Junior Air Force ROTC students. These are sophomores, juniors, and seniors who put on those blue and gray uniforms. They stand so straight, you could put a ruler on their back. And they serve as personal concierge to our veteran guests who need support and assistance all the time that they're at our program. They are also part of the flag program and the color guard. Then we have, this is the interesting one, Jones Middle School. I gave a talk 2 weeks ago at Jones Middle School, 8 o'clock in the morning, 200 8th graders. It's not an easy crowd. It really isn't. But we talked about what they can do, what our program is, and we talked about what they can do. I taught them the 2 most important words in the English language, thank you. So they've written thank you notes to our veterans they've never met on half sheets of paper. This is the same size as a Girl Scout box of cookies. We have fixed them to Girl Scout boxes of cookies, and we give them to our guests. So our veterans receive thank yous from middle school kids they've never met and a box of cookies. So it allows us to teach all 3 of these projects allow us to teach youth the value of giving, the value of the veterans that we have in our community, and understand the importance and vibrance of thank you. I'd like to thank our partners, the Franklin County Veterans Services and the Greater Columbus Convention Center. This partnership has become a win-win for both of us. It allows us to open our doors wide, open our arms as wide as we possibly can. I'm so proud to have Jimmy Dean there, and not the sausage person, but our bagpiper. So, hey, I got to use what I got, okay? But we're very proud to have this relationship and this ongoing relationship. And I know we're volunteers, but I also know that it takes a team of people to serve our community. Not a veteran, but I really believe that every veteran that comes out of this service is either a little bit or a lot broken. And the military and the government doesn't care about, I'm excluding this group, of course, doesn't care about them, because that's why they only get a folder that thick as they leave the military service. And it's up to families and communities and organizations like this to support our veterans on an ongoing basis, whether they need a little bit of help or a lot of help. So from my heart, I want to say thank you very much for your support in our program. I invite you all down. We have a really good lunch. I won't use the D word in front of us. It's a darn good lunch that we have. So please, oh, and we have Dairy Queen blizzards, by the way. Dave Gilmore brings those down. So thank you very Do you have questions for me, please? We'd be glad to have you come down.
Commissioner Grady, I don't have any questions, just comment. One, I want to say that even if you're not a veteran, you probably have a loved one that is a veteran, and so that really touches us all. We all are impacted one way or another by the service that folks who have dedicated themselves to that stage, in whatever stage they were in their life, to public service in that way, and we're all here because of them. So that's I wanted to say that. And then the second thing I want to just acknowledge is that, again, this is rubber meets the road right here. And so I just want to encourage you, Dan, to keep on doing what you're doing. You're a great leader of this work, and more importantly, a great partner in the broader scheme of what we're here to do, and that's serve people. Your subgroup is veterans, but it all fits into one mosaic that we're all trying to assist with. So thank you for your work, and thank you for your service, too.
Sure. One quick thing, really fast, I promise, really fast. My job as executive director is to monitor the floor to make sure everything's working the way it's supposed to, and I have my ears out. We have Columbus Police. We have all the right things in place to make it a safe place. I heard this commotion last year in the food line, which is served by Ohio Basement Authority. Is that a commercial? They provide 12 people to serve our lunch for our program. I heard this whooping and hollering, and I go over there. There are these two guys that are having this love fest. 40 years ago, they served on the same boat, and they didn't know they lived in the same town. So not only do we provide good services, but we bring social services and people together in a very healthy way, I think. That was sure. Like that?
Please, please.
Thank you, President O'Grady. Thank you, Director Willis, for your ongoing love and support for veterans. And it just warms my heart because I think as a veteran, what we do for our fellow veterans is expected. I expect veterans to take care of veterans. But it just really warmed my heart when you have people like you who are passionate, who isn't a veteran, but is just passionate about bringing veterans together, making sure that they have the resources they need. And like you said, leveling the playing field so nobody feels any way about coming there, receiving a free coat. You take away the shame, you take away guilt, you take away, things that would be a barrier for individuals. So just thank you. And thank you to all the volunteers. I was there last year. I think I have a conflict, but we'll definitely try to be there this year. But thank you isn't even sufficient for how I feel about you and all of the volunteers who come out to make that day very successful. Thank you.
So two things. One, again, thank you. Thank you for all that you guys do. Thank you for what the Veteran Service Commission does on a daily basis. Thank you to all of the Franklin County agencies and all the agencies that are a part of this, because it's a big undertaking. But I'm proud of all of our agencies, Shonda and your agency, and Susan Brown and her agency, all the agencies in Franklin County that work with you guys to pull this off. But then my second point or question is, I just read through this thing and I'm looking through everything. What is the date?
Halloween, October 31st. I'm really sorry.
All right, great. Yeah, so I'm
Because we
got-
pass out live on the spot, so that's what,
Yeah.
on our website, October 31st.
October 31st.
The doors
all
open
right.
at 8 o'clock in the morning, and we end at 1:30.
Great, October 31st. Beautiful.
Did I say
So-
October 31st?
Yes.
October
yes, sir.
31st.
October 31st. All right, so Veterans Stand Down is on October 31st this year, so, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
Right. If there are no further comments or questions, move for adoption of 798-23.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 798-23 has been adopted.
I will be back in about 2 weeks, and we'll have that conversation about the Army-Navy game coming up. So
Go
just to give you a
Navy.
chance to think about it.
Ooh, that should be good. That should be a good bet there.
Well, we've been losing to the Army lately, like consecutively.
Yeah.
So-
Well, hold your
That'll happen
ground,
again
Commissioner
this year.
Crowley.
I know.
Come
That'll
on,
happen
hold your
again.
ground.
That'll happen
Amazing.
again this year.
Oh, man.
See, why are we always on opposite sides?
You know what? I'm going to be with you on this one because you're a Steelers fan, and so, who cares about these Browns folks? So.
They always pick wrong anyway, so,
what can I
in the
say?
draft and, as a team in general.
All right.
I know how badly Commissioner O'Grady wants to point out that the Browns are 4-2 right now, but we don't really care. That's the thing.
Congratulations.
So, it's just.
But then they'll mess it up. They'll start
They'll
with
mess
the
it up. We're
winning
just waiting on it.
season,
We're just waiting.
and then they'll have a losing season.
I didn't bring up any of this stuff. I didn't bring up any of this stuff.
I apologize for starting all that, and I'll leave.
You got something started, sir. Yeah, you got something started. There's a thing up here. There's a thing
Have
up
a
here.
good one.
All right. I'll do the Office on Aging.
Resolution number 799-23. Resolution authorizing the acceptance of a Healthy Aging Grant from the Ohio Department of Aging.
Good morning, Commissioners and County Administration. Shonda Wingo, Director for the Franklin County Office on Aging. Joining me today is our CFO, Larice Cohens. This resolution comes about from House Bill 33 of the 135th General Assembly, where a one-time Healthy Aging grant program was established and to be utilized by the Ohio Department of Aging to provide grants to all of Ohio counties. And the funds do come from the Federal American Rescue Plan, or Act, I'm sorry. The Healthy Aging grants aim to address the social determinants of health, foster improved quality of life for older Ohioans, enable them to remain in their homes and stay connected to their communities, preserve their personal assets, and promote a healthy, independent, active lifestyle. Franklin County is expected to receive an allocation of $4,108,604.62. The project period of the Healthy Aging Grants runs from October 1st, 2023 through November 30th of 2024. This resolution supports several of the Rise Together Blueprint goals, goal number 6, goal number 7, goal number 9, and goal number 10. Pending any questions, we respectfully request the authorization of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 799-23.
Second, well, before I second, I just want to say congratulations
Thank you.
on getting this award. I'm sure it will be impactful. And thank you to the legislature who, normally we're not celebrating a lot of stuff that comes out, but House Bill 33, kudos to the legislature for getting it right. And with that, second.
Moved and seconded, voting. Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 799-23 has been adopted.
Thank you.
All right. Economic Development and Planning.
Resolution number 800-23. Resolution authorizing the county administrator on behalf of the Board of Franklin County Commissioners to execute the attached partial release of mortgage for the Commons at Grant Limited Partnership.
Good morning, Commissioners. Janine Hummer, First Assistant and Chief Counsel for the Franklin County Prosecutor's Office on behalf of G. Gary Tyak and Economic Development and Planning. In 2002, the Board of Commissioners approved a home loan in the amount of $515,000 that would go toward affordable housing units. That process is still in place. Units were constructed. What is before you today is a partial release of the mortgage necessary for the City of Columbus to construct ADA-compliant sidewalks and ramps. This document that you have attached to the resolution will accomplish that goal. In addition, the resolution does further authorize the county administrator, together with input from Economic Development and Planning, to review the documents related to the promissory note and determine whether or not to extend that payback period. If you have no further questions, I'd be requesting approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 800-23.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting. Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 823 has been adopted. Resolution number 801-23. Resolution authorizing a consulting services agreement with Guidehouse Incorporated to provide support with the administering grant programs provided by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development.
Good morning, Commissioner. Zach Tularic with the Office of Management and Budget. This resolution will assist with managing the Home Investment Partnerships Program, or HOME program, as well as the Community Development Block Grant, or CDBG program. The first phase of the consulting services will include a current state and assessment to map financial reporting requirements, interview stakeholders, gather data, and provide a gap analysis and risk assessment, while future phases will include development of a subrecipient monitoring plan, addressing other HUD standards, and reconciling financial data for the awards for HOME and CDBG from 2015 through 2023. Pending any questions, would ask for your approval of this resolution.
Before we move, what's the cost?
The initial phase is not to exceed $115,000.
And over what time? What time period?
The initial phase is hopefully over the first 4 to 6 weeks, and then the balance of the program for the additional phases would be not to exceed an additional $385,000 for a total of $500,000.
And so the last question, so we have to use general funds for this, we can't use.
That is correct.
Grant funds for that, yeah. Okay. If there are no further, sorry.
I'm sorry.
Please.
So after phase 1, which you said will be 4 to 6 weeks, will they provide an initial report to then go into phases 2 and 3 should run concurrently? So
That is correct. So we'll get the initial from the first phase. The initial contract that purchasing the prosecutor's office is looking only at phase 1, and then with that report, we'll be able to develop a separate contract for phases 2 and 3.
Okay.
Okay. Any further? If there are no further comments or questions, move for adoption of 801-23.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Resolution number 801-23 has been adopted. Resolution number 802-23.
I'm sorry. I do have, it's already approved, but after, shoot, I just lost my question. For phases 2 and 3, since this is only for 115,000, but the supplemental information says not to exceed 500,000. For phases 2 and 3, will we have to do like an amendment after we get the report, or what needs to come before the board again for the other phases, if anything?
The approval of the purchase order, so that would be required. So the resolution does authorize the county administrator to sign the agreements for phase 2 and 3, but pending approval as to form from the prosecutor's office, as well as the board's approval for an additional purchase order to encumber the funds prior to that signature.
Okay, all right, thank you, sorry.
Kenneth Wilson, County Administrator, that provision, President O'Grady, Commissioner Crowley, Commissioner Boyce, is in the fourth whereas
Okay,
of the resolution that Director Tulare just referenced.
okay, I see it, thank you.
Resolution number 802-23. Resolution authorizing an affordable housing development agreement with Columbus Housing Partnership Incorporated, doing business as Homeport, to receive funding through the Magnet Fund program to assist the development of an affordable housing project in the amount of $1,350,000.
Good morning, Commissioners. Emmanuel Torres, Assistant Director of Economic Development and Planning. And this resolution is for an affordable housing development agreement from the 2021 round of the Magnet Fund program with the Columbus Housing Partnership, Inc., doing business as Homeport. Homeport intends to invest approximately $29 million to develop 100 units of affordable housing in Franklin County. The project, Easton Place Homes 2, will be located at 3775 Easton Square Place. Homeport has received a letter of eligibility from the Ohio Housing Finance Agency, determining this project as eligible to receive the 4% low-income housing tax credit award. This Magnet Fund grant amount of $1,350,000 will have the term, or under the terms of this agreement, Homeport will develop 15 units that will be affordable at or under 30% of the area median income. 25 units will be affordable at or under 50% of the area median income, and 60 of these units will be affordable at or under 60% of the area median income. Joining us today from Homeport, we have President and CEO and a dear colleague of mine, Leah Evans, to share a few words on this project and their initiatives on affordable housing.
Thank you, President O'Grady, Commissioner Crawley. It's good to see you all. I want to take a moment and really thank you for your partnership and cooperation with us on this project. As Emmanuel already shared the details, he had to do that shameless plug. I hired him when we were at the City of Gahanna, so we go way back. But when Emmanuel showed the details, I won't talk about Easton Place Homes Phase 2 specifically, but just wanted to share some context for the work that we're doing at Easton and why it's so critically important that we're all rowing in the same direction when it comes to you all have been elevating housing as an important issue for our county and for livability of our citizens throughout the county, and just wanted to share some feedback on that. Easton, I'm assuming you've all been there, directly in that half-mile radius of where this project is being developed are about 25,000 jobs. We estimate that over 20,000 of those would income qualify for the homes that we're developing right now. That Easton, there are Fortune 1000 companies. There's also 250 retail companies. There are 4 hotels. We find that the families that often live with us are in the retail, transportation, airport, hospitality space. And so definitely we see this deep connection between a place where we put housing and where economic development engines are and where we can bringing those two things together to really support the housing stability of our residents by taking away the concerns about transportation, then being able to have easy access to services and recreation all within walking distance. So we were very excited. This project came together as a public-private partnership that you are a part of between Homeport, Georgetown, which is the company that has developed all of the Easton development, as well as our city of Columbus. And without your resources to bring this second phase on, again, we're finishing 50 apartments right now. This is phase 2, and there's one more phase that we're hoping to do. But without your support, we would have been unable to close the gap to get this phase done because it is larger. It's over a $30 million project. It's the largest project that Homeport has undertaken in our history, and we're very excited to be able to partner with you to bring housing to the citizens. So questions for me, again, just want to express my thanks and gratitude, highlight again the continued need. As you all know, we saw over 20,000 evictions in Franklin County alone in 2022. We continue to see tremendous pressures on our housing supply, and this is just one little piece that's going to continue to alleviate some of that burden and some of that pressure and bring housing to some of our neighbors and citizens that are living doubled up, that are coming through our homeless center. We're seeing a huge increase in our families that are experiencing homelessness and housing instability. We have a partnership to be able to bring some of those families into Easton Place, phase 1 and phase 2, as well as Emmanuel represented. We have partnerships to continue to address special populations within the development to do 30% income units, as well as we have some special partnerships with Creative Housing, Creative Solutions, another agency that you support, to bring in persons that have physical disabilities as well. So really looking to try to not solve all the housing problems, but definitely lift up those special populations that need that additional attention and care to make sure they're getting into housing.
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you, President O'Grady. Thank you, Leah, for being here. Really appreciate that, you have a number of units or 40 units at 50% AMI or below. We know that for the people who are being evicted are women of color, Black women especially, but those who are at 50% AMI and below. And so I know that as we have a lot of development happening here in Franklin County, it's hard for developers to develop at those that level. And so I'm always excited for us to be involved in projects where we're serving those who have the most need. But my question is, what additional services are being provided to families in this housing project? I know some of your other places have like childcare availability. So can you talk about any services that are provided to the population that will be served here?
For sure. Thank you, Commissioner. As you said, all of our Homeport residents have access to our resident services. I'm looking at DCA Vivens because we work deeply with Job and Family Services. So all of them have access to our staff. We have a staff of 4 trained and or licensed social workers, so that they will do outreach events with the staff, with the residents, to make sure they need to get connected to healthcare. I was making sure to connect with the speaker from earlier about women and breast cancer. So our traditional slate of services through resident services is on-site service coordinator will have hours, so people can come. If they got issues, they just come to them. We also process emergency rental assistance needs. We do services like connection to the benefit bank. We do connections to workforce. And then usually on the childcare front, we let the project get developed, and then we assess how many children. We don't really know how many families we'll attract at Easton right now. We're excited. We do have 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms, so we're hoping to see families come forward and that we're going to be housing families. We just don't know yet. So that may be a service provision that comes down the line. All of our properties do have community rooms, so we do plan ahead that we can host events and programs on site, but we'll usually take about 2 or 3 years before we determine if this is going to be a good site for our out of school time programs. But all of the residents will have access to all of our other service coordinations services, as well as we will bring on-site partners that bring those direct services. Like when you're talking about your Franklin County bus, we'd love to have the bus come over to Easton, and we definitely host those kind of events and bring services into those spaces.
Thank you.
Any others?
I can.
You want to go ahead and
Okay.
make the motion and all?
All right, if there are no comments or questions, move for approval of Resolution 802-23.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce. Resolution number 802-23 has been adopted with Commissioner Boyce's noted abstention. Resolution number 803-23. Resolution authorizing a contract with AJC Solutions LLC for the provision of economic development consulting services in the amount of $24,900.
Commissioners, this next resolution seeks your approval to authorize a non-competitive services contract with AJC Solutions, AJC from here on out, in the amount of $24,900 for the provision of economic development consulting services. AJC is a veteran, woman-owned, Franklin County-based consulting firm with certified economic development practitioners and over 17 years of expertise in economic development policies, urban land use plans, and residential growth strategies. Franklin County Economic Development and Planning has been approached by affordable housing developers in need of support for projects located at 2 different sites. One of these is located in the Mifflin-Clinton Townships area on the former Schottenstein's Valley City site, and the second is on Franklin Township on the former Westland Mall site. Each of these projects have requested a real property tax exemption, which will require a community reinvestment area, or CRA district, to be created. AJC will assist our agency with conducting the required housing surveys that will include analysis of demographics, housing stock, and proposed geographic boundary for each of the CRAs. AJC, as a result of these CRAs being created, approximately 354 affordable housing units are projected to be developed upon completion of the projects. And pending any questions, I request the approval of this resolution.
President O'Grady.
Please.
Okay, thank you, President O'Grady. Thank you, Emmanuel. For the housing projects that you are talking about in this area, hold on, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the resolution. And you said one of them is on, in the Westland Mall area?
Correct. So it's the southeast corner of the Westland Mall, and this would be a project, oh Lord,
So this is consulting services for these,
for the housing
Housing.
service that are required by the Ohio Revised Code in order to establish the districts, which would allow us to then go on to the next phase and establish the incentive district, if you will.
okay. All right.
All right. Well,
Hold on one second.
President O'Grady, Commissioner Crawley, we have a matter to reconsider on the previous resolution, but first we can handle 803-23, and then we can go back to 802-23 if that's okay.
sure.
Okay. So if there are no comments or questions, or further comments on questions on 803-23, move for its approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 803-23 has been adopted. Mr. President, Commissioner Crawley, there is a matter in 802-23 where there was an error in one of the documents listed. Prosecutor Hummer and Administrator Wilson just informed me of this, and so we would need to put this back to reconsider it. And then once we vote to do that, we can vote to approve that reconsideration. Is that correct?
What is the
Kenneth
noted?
Wilson, County Administrator. Commissioners, I would like to bring your attention to the resolution summary contained in Resolution 802-3. There's an incorrect reference as to the grantee. The grantee is in fact the Columbus Housing Partnership doing business as Homeport, and this is not an agreement with Walter Cooper Companies, Inc., as is listed in the resolution summary.
reconsider?
Yes.
And call it back up
We're-
with the amendment that reflects the change, and the change should be stated.
The correct reference as to who is the actual grantee under the agreement.
So the first step would be for a motion for reconsideration, and that will be needed by someone who voted in the affirmative. And then there's a second, and then you vote on the motion for reconsideration, and then you reconsider the actual resolution.
All right, move to reconsider Resolution 802-23.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Crawley,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Abstain.
Resolution number 802-23 has been moved to be reconsidered with Commissioner Boyce's noted abstention.
I'm looking for a summary.
Should I vote on this?
You have every right to, if there's no conflict.
Yeah, we didn't have anything.
Good.
So to move first, make the motion.
For passage,
So I can do it, I guess I can do it then.
with the correction, and note the correction.
Okay, if there are no further comments or questions, move for adoption of 802-23 with the correction, with the amended version of 802-23, which reflects the reference of the Woda Cooper Company within the resolution, and reflects the appropriate entity, which is Homeport. Is that correct?
Correct. Kenneth Wilson, County Administrator. Upon reconsideration, the Department of Economic Development and Planning will get the resolution from the clerk in order for the technical correction to be made, so that the correct reference is included in the resolution summary, that it is the Columbus Housing Partnership doing business as Homeport as the grantee, and not Woda Cooper Companies.
Okay. So the motion has been made. There needs to be a second.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Reconsidered resolution number 802-23 has been adopted. Resolution number 804-23. Resolution approving the recommendations of the 2023 Franklin County Tax Incentive Review Councils.
Commissioners, this next resolution seeks your approval for recommendations made on August 29th, 2023 by the Tax Incentive Review Councils, otherwise known as Turks, in Franklin County for activity occurring from January 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2022. The Franklin County Department of Economic Development and Planning, together with Franklin County Auditor's Office, conducted the annual Turk meetings to review the annual compliance of enterprises with active economic development incentive agreements benefiting from enterprise zones, community reinvestment area, and tax increment finance programs, and to make recommendations. In accordance with sections 5709.85 of the Ohio Revised Code, the Turks shall forward the recommendations to the County Board of Commissioners as the legislative authority that created the incentive program and sign the agreements under review. Commissioners, on the recommendations of the Turk may be to continue, to amend, or dissolve the agreements. However, you're not bound to follow the Turk recommendations. In summary, all agreements were reviewed and found to be in compliance. The Turks recommended continuance with no action necessary. Overall, the incentives portfolio is healthy and performing at 208% of the goal for the full-time employee opportunities to be created and retained, 106% of the goal for the total payroll created, and we have also reached 95.99% of the total committed real property investment. Additionally, all exceptions that are part of the pre-1994 CRAs were found to be in compliance, and the Turk accepted the reports with no action required. Pending any questions, I respectfully request the approval of this resolution, which accepts the recommendations made by the Tax Incentive Review Councils.
All right, if there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 804-23.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Resolution number 804-23 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Resolution number 805-23. Resolution authorizing the Board of Franklin County Commissioners to sign the attached discharge of mortgage instrument for Jacqueline Haycook at 6773 London Groveport Road, Grove City, Ohio, 43123.
Good morning, I'm Julissa Tiruchavo, Executive Assistant for EDP. I'll be presenting three resolutions
I
today.
can't hear you. It's hard, I have a hard time hearing you. There you go.
Better, okay. The first resolution is for Jacqueline Haycook. Jacqueline Haycook received on March 14th, 2006 from Franklin County a home loan for $4,388 on real estate, commonly known as 6773 London Groveport Road, Grove City, Ohio. The requirements of the housing loan have been satisfied and property taxes are paid and current, and I respectfully request the approval of the discharge of mortgage on this property.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 805-23.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 805-23 has been adopted. Resolution number 806-23. Resolution authorizing the Board of Franklin County Commissioners to sign the attached discharge of mortgage instrument for Alexis Silknitter at 2410 Bridlewood Boulevard, Obetz, Ohio, 43207.
Alexis Silknitter received on October 27, 2003 from Franklin County a home loan for $2,225 on real estate, commonly known as 2410 Bridlewood Boulevard, Obetz. The requirements of the housing loan have been satisfied, and I respectfully request the approval of the discharge of mortgage on this property.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 806-23.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 806-23 has been adopted. Resolution number 807-23. Resolution authorizing the Board of Franklin County Commissioners to sign the attached discharge of mortgage instrument for Marcia Ann Yarnell at 3114 No Bixby Road, Columbus, Ohio, 43232.
Marcia Ann Yarnell received on April 16, 2009 from Franklin County a home loan for $15,000 on real estate, commonly known as 3114 No Bixby Road, Columbus, Ohio. The requirements of the housing loan have been satisfied, and I respectfully request the approval of the discharge of mortgage.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 807-23.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 807-23 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Justice Policy and Programs.
Resolution number 808-23. Resolution authorizing a subgrant award modification with Franklin County Municipal Court for work release programming through the FY 2022 Targeted Community Alternatives to Prison Grant.
Good morning, Commissioners. Rochelle Pride, Director for the Office of Justice Policy and Program. The Ohio Department of Corrections created the Targeted Community Alternatives to Prison program to provide funding to local communities as a result of changes to the ORC, which prohibits some fifth-degree felony offenders from serving a prison sentence in an Ohio prison after July 1st, 2018. In 2022, you approved Resolution Number 0496-22, authorizing a sub-grant award agreement to Franklin County Municipal Court in the amount of $110,000 for a work release program targeting eligible misdemeanants as defined by the TCAP grant program. The original term of the agreement was for a period commencing July 1, 2022 and terminating on June 30th of 2023. This resolution seeks to amend and extend the agreement term and end date through March 31st of 2024 to allow for additional time to finalize the completion of outstanding deliverables. Through this modified agreement, the municipal court will continue their work release program for individuals charged under state code with the intent of reducing jail overcrowding to ensure availability of space for common pleas defendants and cover cost of jail bed nights for individuals charged under the state code. Between July 1st of 2022 and July 30th of 2023, 66 residents were diverted from jail and placed in work release programs. 86% of residents successfully completed the program and services, and a total cost savings of $63,070 was yielded from jail bed nights saved utilizing this alternative to incarceration. This resolution supports goal number 2 of our Rise Together blueprint, and pending any questions, we would seek your approval of this resolution.
Madam Clerk, we have a speaker.
We do, Mr. President. Thank you. The speaker slip was submitted for this resolution from a Vicky A. Miller. Ms. Miller, are you present today, either here in person or online to speak? Okay, Mr. President, she is not here. So
All right.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 808-23.
Second.
moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 808-23 has been adopted.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.
Thank you. Purchasing Department.
Resolution number 809-23. Resolution approving purchases for various Franklin County agencies in the amount of $2,470,266.75.
Good morning, Commissioners. Megan Perry Valenier, Director of Purchasing. Joining me is Tamika Bumper, Economic Equity Administrator for the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. This resolution requests your approval of 103 purchase orders for which the county auditor has certified available funding. Pardon me this morning. Tamika has prepared the supplier diversity data to share with you today. Good morning, Tamika.
Good morning. 9 of the purchase orders being presented today are being awarded to small emerging businesses, totaling $222,190.85. 1% is being awarded to minority-owned businesses, and 1% is going to small businesses. Another 1% to locally disadvantaged businesses, and 5% to women-owned businesses. Once these are approved, 7 agencies have provided equitable and inclusive opportunities to small businesses this week. The agencies include the Clerk of Court, Common Pleas Court, Domestic Relations and Juvenile Court, Engineer's Office, Job and Family Services, Purchasing, and the Sheriff's Office. Pending any questions, we request your approval of this resolution.
For those who don't remember, my name is Commissioner Boyce, and,
We have another.
oh, okay.
We have another speaker on
Okay.
this.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just wanted to remind the people who don't remember my name that it was Commissioner Boyce.
Thank you, Commissioner Boyce. I appreciate the reminder.
Electioneering is not permitted from the dais.
Commissioners, this was the speaker slip was also submitted for this resolution from Vicky Miller. Ms. Miller, are you present in person or online to speak on this matter? Okay, Commissioner Boyce.
Commissioner Boyce.
Commissioner
Clerk,
Boyce,
did you get
whenever
that?
you're
Did
ready.
you get my name right? Okay. Thank
Kevin
you.
L. Boyce.
Kevin L. Boyce, Commissioner.
Right. If there are no further comments or questions, move for adoption of 809-23.
I do have a comment. We're not on this, but I mean, I want to say, just in the spirit of like us joking, I really love and appreciate that I get to work with you two every day in our administration. The work that we do is hard. It can be heavy. We deal with challenging issues every single day, but being able to come to work in an environment with colleagues who get it and we can laugh and joke as we navigate today's issues really means a lot to me. So I take it as an honor and privilege to work with each and every one of you all, and I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
You know,
And I second that.
since you brought that up, if I might, I would just say that too, for the public, we don't always agree on everything. And you should know, I mean, behind the scenes, sometimes we fight and we go through different things we disagree. When we get here, though, it's important that we're able to work it out and just kind of work through the things. So a lot of times you see that we're all yes, and everything, it's all smooth, but there's a lot that goes into it behind it. And you have no idea how hard it is to deal with Commissioner O'Grady. So, I mean, you just don't even know. You don't even know. So, like, I mean,
Well, that's just 'cause
Commissioner
you don't like
Crawley
my-
and I should deserve get a lot of credit
That's
for
just
that one.
because you don't like my football team. Now, that's not my fault. But I was just
Even
getting- I was just getting ready to
Commissioner
say-
O'Grady is fun to work
I was
with,
just getting ready to
trust me.
say, we are, we're all fun and games up here now, but, I'm a terrible poker player, so when I'm in a bad mood, you can see it on my face. If these guys make me mad, you know it.
Yeah.
You
we-
will see it on my face.
But we live, though, we
When
go on.
Commissioner Boyce
We
makes
go-
me mad, you will see it on my face.
We've had those
This
moments
is-
for sure, but what I love about I'm glad Commissioner Crawley brought this up because we have the three of us. Usually I'm involved somehow, but we've had a lot of knockdown dragouts over time, and
are you trying to say?
especially you and me and Commissioner O'Grady, but we we go along, we move on. And I think that is, like Commissioner Crawley was pointing out, that's really an important part of being able to do this work. And I'm really glad you brought that up, because the public doesn't see that, and they only see us up here, and they see the, camaraderie, it seems, and we do have camaraderie, but believe me, we don't agree on everything. And it takes a lot to work through a lot of these issues sometimes, the more than you might think.
Yeah, we disagree,
Just
but.
get on Team Cleveland Browns, we'd be fine.
Oh, gosh. So we
Not
can
gonna happen,
disagree
yeah.
without being disagreeable.
Yeah.
And so I think that, I just wanted to highlight that to your point. We disagree
you did.
without being disagreeable. And so it is a pleasure. All right, and so I will second that motion.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Resolution number 80923 has been adopted.
Yeah.
All right. Where are we with that? Oh, we're on Board of, we're
It's
still on
us.
Board of Commissioners.
It's us.
Resolution number 81023, resolution authorizing an application on behalf of the Franklin County Conventions Facility Authority to the Ohio Department of Development Energy Efficiency Program for Ohio Communities Grant Program.
Good morning, Commissioners. Lauren Rummel, Director of Government Affairs and Ethics. The federal, I'm used to saying Franklin when I see that word. The federal infrastructure bill included various funding streams aimed at sustainability through energy efficiency in the nation's built infrastructure. The Ohio Department of Development is responsible for administering one of those programs, which is the subject of this resolution. It's the competitive grant program they're calling the Energy Efficiency Program for Ohio Communities, or EEPOC. Units of local government are eligible to apply for this program and may apply on behalf of other eligible entities. So this resolution, as the clerk stated, is to submit an application on behalf of the Franklin County Convention Facilities Authority for up to $250,000 for energy efficiency upgrades that they've identified as part of their soon-to-be-completed energy audit. So we believe this program aligns with the grant requirements, and we'll be working closely with the authority to prepare the application. That will be due next week. We'll be the lead applicant as the BOC, recipient of the funds, and then the CFA would execute. I will note that Don Brown, Executive Director of the Franklin County Conventions Facility Authority, is online with us today. If you have any questions, and pending those, I ask for your approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 810-23.
I do. So are we the applicant, or we're authorizing the Convention Facilities Authority to be the applicant?
We're the applicant.
On their behalf.
On
Okay,
their behalf.
second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Resolution number 81023 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Resolution number 81123, resolution authorizing non-general fund appropriation adjustments for the provision and maintenance of zoological park services and facilities.
Good morning, Commissioners. This resolution authorizes a transfer of appropriations from materials and services to grants in the amount of $79,552, and it includes a supplemental appropriation within grants in the amount of $6,607,827. This is needed in order to process the final payment to the Columbus Zoological Park Association before the end of the year.
It's your call. I'll vote for it one way or another, but if you want to hold this till you figure out what's going on.
That's a good point. We should probably, can we table this until next week?
Yes, you can table this, President
week.
O'Grady, for 1 week.
Postpone it.
Postpone it for 1 week. We would like to, yeah. Should I move, or how?
Oh, I could do it, I'm sorry.
Go ahead and move.
Move to postpone for 1 week, resolution 811-23.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Resolution number 81123 has been postponed until next week's general session. Resolution number 81223, resolution authorizing an adjustment in the per diem charge for the housing of prisoners.
Good morning, Commissioners. Zach Telerik with the Office of Management and Budget. Previously, the board approved Resolution 634-20 to authorize the current per diem charge of $100 per day for charges under municipal ordinances. This resolution would authorize an increase to the per diem rate to $115 to be phased in over a 3-year period with increases of $5 per year. In addition, this resolution also authorizes the county administrator to enter into amendments to the contract for the housing of prisoners that's required to account for changes in apportioning the cost of transporting those individuals from the municipal court that were not already conveyed from the correction center. The allocation is based on the estimated cost for the sheriff's office and is apportioned in the same manner that the proportionate share for the emergency management agency is allocated. Pending any questions, would ask for your approval of this resolution.
Please.
Thank you, President O'Grady. So this, just to be clear, this is, the per diem is the price that we charge others to house their prisoners. So if the city of Columbus picks them up and brings them to the county jail, we charge them a per diem. Same with, I believe, federal inmates and whatnot. But the question, that's correct?
Correct, but the charge only applies if they're charged under municipal ordinances. If it's under state code cases, the county bears the responsibility for the cost.
Okay, and then, so the other, right, I should have said that. So the other question I have is, so have we vetted the price increase with those who have to pay?
There's
So,
a
with
60-day.
the cities and all the folks who bring people to the jail.
We will be sending notice out, so this would be effective on January 1 of 2024. And this is I believe for the last 9 years, we've kind of been phasing in increases over a 3-year period to allow the municipalities as well to be able to forecast out for more than 1 year at a time.
So that's what I was getting at. So they're expecting this, they are aware of the increased schedule, and so the execution is one part, because they have the budget for it, is the point I'm making, especially Columbus.
Correct.
Okay, they are aware of it.
They should be, yes.
Okay, all right.
Well, I have a comment, or a question and a comment, President O'Grady. Thank you. Thank you, Zach, for presenting this resolution. I just want to say, especially when it goes, since we are increasing the per diem, and our bed population has been increasing, right? And so I want to tie it to the resolution that Director Pride, and I know we have more felony people who have been charged with felonies than misdemeanors in our jail. And I just want to say that this is just another, since the county does absorb a lot of the costs, why it matters to, one, have a jail population review team to see if there are people who are being housed in our facility who don't need to be, and that would decrease the cost on the county for housing, but also instances where we can divert people from our jail facility, we should absolutely be doing that. And so I appreciate Director Pride for looking at the tap-in program that we saw in St. Louis, having a jail population review team, and so, want to just thank county administration as well for continuing to have a look on, the increased population that we continue to see, but also implementing programs where we know across the country have been effective, and making sure that we are not housing people who do not need to be housed. At the end of the day, it does cost, but also it disrupts people's lives. And so I just want to highlight that as we are making this adjustment to the per diem from $100 a day to $115 by 2026. So thank you for that.
Sorry.
If there are no comments or further comments or questions, move for adoption of 812-23.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Resolution number 812-23 has been adopted. Resolution number 813-23. Resolution to designate the official representative and alternate for the purpose of voting at the annual meeting of the County Commissioners Association of Ohio in 2023. Commissioners, this resolution is to designate your official representative, which is Commissioner O'Grady, and the alternate representative being Commissioner Crawley, for this year's County Commissioners Association of Ohio meeting. Pending any questions, asking for your approval.
Do I have to support this? I'm just joking. I support it. Go ahead.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 813-23.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yeah.
Commissioner
Yes.
O'Grady?
Yes.
Resolution number 813-23 has been adopted. Resolution number 814-23, resolution appointing Jamie Shoemaker to the Franklin County Children's Services Board of Trustees.
Good morning, Commissioners. Lauren Gressel, Assistant Director of Community Appointments. This resolution is appointing Ms. Shoemaker for a term of 4 years, and pending any questions, we'll respectfully ask for your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 814-23.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 814-23 has been adopted. Resolution number 815-23, resolution appointing Erica Clark Jones to the Central Ohio Transit Authority Board of Trustees.
Commissioners, this is a 3-year appointment to the COTA Board of Trustees, and pending any questions, we'll ask for your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 815-23.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 815-23 has been adopted. Resolution number 816-23, resolution appointing Nana Watson to the Human Services Levy Review Committee.
Commissioners, this is to fill a vacancy left by the resignation of Jean Carter Ryan, and pending any questions, we'll ask for your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 816-23.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 816-23 has been adopted. Resolution number 817-23, resolution appointing Lagrita Achempong to the Franklin County Transportation Improvement District Board of Trustees.
Commissioners, this is to fill the vacancy left by the resignation of Eric Janis, and pending any questions, we'll ask for your approval.
The last name got me. If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 817-23.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 817-23 has been adopted. Resolution number 818-23, resolution appointing an alternate to Kenneth N. Wilson for the District 3 Public Works Integrating Committee.
Commissioners, this is appointing Chris Long, Deputy County Administrator, to serve in the absence of Administrator Wilson. And pending any questions, we'll ask for your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 818-23.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 818-23 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, are there journalizations today?
There are not, Mr. President.
All right, thank you. That concludes our business for October 24th.
And Mr. President, we do have a ditch petition hearing following this, so those of you that are here joining in person and online, we're going to take a brief break to get set up, and then we'll begin that promptly at 11 a.m.
Do you have a lot of speakers for that?
I'm sorry?
Do we have a lot of speakers?